about their robot, to demonstrate it, and to explain to you about the robotics group. They are unloading through the door over here right now so they can bring it in on a flat surface. So we're just waiting for them to get their car unloaded and get it over here. The Robotics Club is one of the many activities you can participate in at Neshoba High School. And so they will explain how they work, what they do, and then they'll answer any questions you might have about it. But while we are waiting for them, we can take advantage of this time to just check in on a bunch of 8th grade end of the year stuff. Wait a minute, let me finish my announcement and then we'll do questions, okay?
Stop interrupting, you're talking.
Next Friday, which is the 16th, we will be lining up for how we are going.
All right, everybody. So, us 5 are juniors and seniors from the Neshoba High School robotics team. It is a first robotics competition team. We're Team 1768. We've been competing since 2005, and we pretty much build robots. So, we're here to demo to you guys and try to get you guys interested in joining the team next year, since you're all 8th graders and have the opportunity of joining us next year in high school. Should we introduce ourselves? Alright, so my name is Abudi. I'm a junior. I was lead designer for this robot this year. I'm a driver for this robot and I'm a machinist.
I'm Jake. I'm a designer, fabricator, and worked on maintaining the robot when Abudi, who's our driver, broke it, which he did quite a bit.
I'm Sam. I'm one of the machinists on the team, and I'm also the human player on the field.
I am Ruben. I was drive coach. I was also head machinist and part of the design team this year.
And I'm Garrison Taylor. I was one of the programmers on the team. I'm a senior.
Programmers are important. We need more. Okay, so this robot, alright. So essentially how this competition works is at the beginning of every year in January, a challenge is released to over 4,000 teams worldwide, and you get 6 weeks to start from scratch. Prototyping, thinking of ideas, designing it. This entire robot is modeled on a computer. So on one of our computers in the school, you can literally just press on a file and this will pop up exactly how it is right now. And you only get 6 weeks to do it. It's not enough time whatsoever. It's extremely time pressured. And afterwards, you compete with it. We went to 3 competitions. One out of WPI, one in Rhode Island, and one in Maine. So we do travel a little bit. And essentially, this year's challenge was called First Steamworks. And there were 3 things that you could do. One thing was you could take these giant, yellow, ugly gears, and you put them on this peg, and he, who's in the middle of a field, our human player, would actually just lift them up into a station, and that scores points. Another thing you could do was these yellow balls, they're called fuel. You could shoot those into a boiler. And essentially every ball scored is fuel for your airship so that you can take off. And then in the last 30 seconds of every match, there is the opportunity to climb ropes dangling from the airship. So this robot can climb 4.5 feet in about 2 seconds. We can't show that to you today because it's pretty hard to make a mobile climbing system that can support this. So along with that challenge, every team is given a rule book. It's about 100 pages long. You have to read it front to back. And there's weight limits, there's size limits, there's so many constraints that you have to abide by. If you don't, then you can't compete. So we'd like to demo some of our functionality. Who is that?
Keep the lights up.
Nah, I think
No,
we're
we're
good.
fine.
so that was not the most impressive thing. We make way more than that. We make closer to 60 to 70% of our shots. The goal on the field is actually a little higher than that and a little bigger. So when our camera sees it, it's actually going to the wrong place, which is why it's shooting off. If everything goes right, we can shoot around 7 balls per second, and we'll make 7. Yes, and we'll make around 60% of them in. Now, this is pretty much, I would call it like a high-level shooter. The best of the best this year, teams that have mentors from renowned engineering companies can do 18 balls per second and make 70 and 80% of them in. These guys are crazy. So we're a pretty competitive team. We did pretty well this year, and last year we did even better. And the year before that we did also extremely well. I would easily say that we're second in Massachusetts and easily top 10 in New England. Should we drive?
All right, so our robot this year, much like a car, has different gears. So we have what we call low gear and high gear.
In high gear, a robot can do 25 miles an hour. And then, you might have heard that, you can shift into low gear.
Think of it as like gears on your bike, where lower gears you can pedal up steeper hills. It's easier to pedal, but at the same time you can't get going as fast. And at a higher gear, you can get going much faster.
Yes. So this is what high gear is much faster. I can't even get to top speed right now because it takes a little bit to accelerate. We have other things on our robot. Not everything's controlled by motors. So we have actually, you can see those black tanks on the back of the robot. Those store compressed air. So we store compressed air at 120 psi, and we use that to do multiple things. Actually, take the balls this way. So, you want another thing we do with pneumatics is we can actually have a robot change shape a little bit. Yeah.
All right, so the robots have to adhere to a volume constraint. They can only be so long on one side, so long on another, and so tall.
Yeah.
I believe this year it was.
This light constraint was 36 by 40, 36 inches wide, 40 inches long, 24 inches tall. It was quite small. 2015, we had robots that were wider, longer, and 6.5 feet tall. So, it varies per year. But that doesn't make it easier with smaller robots. I can say that.
And so actually our robot is here, as you can see, it folds up. I believe it's the 36 dimension. We are only 23 inches, which allows us to extend 13 inches outside of our normal size. It means we're a smaller robot, we're tougher to play defense against.
Yep. And with that low gear that we showed you, like Jake was saying, bikes in the lower gear to either pedal hills. Well, robots in lower gears can push other robots. We push robots on everything. And so you can see our pneumatic actually is done by these pistons right here. So we can do more than just motors, and that actually allows us for a wide range of manipulator options. A lot of design choices. Our shifters. That's pneumatic, so it actually just pushes, it just switches gears like just pushing something into another. It's kind of complex systems that also do the design, also do the concept design.
So the robot this year has, I believe it's 14 motors? 15 motors, and then 7 actuations, which are done pneumatically, one of which has 2 pistons. So we actually have 23 different actuations that can occur with the robot. All the control all of them from that board right there. We have buttons for them.
can actually hear that. That's an onboard compressor. We compress it onboard. So.
Yeah, because each time we actuate, we waste a little bit of compressed air. Garrison, I'll talk about it a little bit.
Oh, and you can see there, that flap closed when we brought the intake out, because when this is out, if this is out while our intake's out, we send past the volume. So we actually have code that makes sure that we can never violate the rules. It's all on that. So our operation is
Robot elimination. All right, so what made this year different from most years in this game is that we had a very large quantity of game objects to score. So historically, you typically have one very large ball, or in some cases inner tube that you have to score.
yeah, last year was a 10-inch top.
Yep.
So this is half the size.
This is half the
It's good
size.
to have everything. So like you don't really, you learn things, but you can't just reuse your last year's robot.
Yeah. So for example, this year we have these dodgeballs. I think we did somewhere around 50 of them in our robot. Last year you were only allowed to handle one at a time.
So it's completely different.
Yep. And so our design has to reflect the different challenges of the game. And this year we realized that being able to score these balls from as many places as possible on the field would be a great benefit. So we designed a turret with quite a bit of complexity to it. So the turret has two wheels, as you can see right here. They're actually mechanically linked to one another so that they're always turning at the same speed, so that when you fire a ball through them, the ball actually will come out with no spin. It is a knuckle ball.
It doesn't give it a whole knuckle ball moving in the air.
Yeah, it's meant to be more predictable than that. But so our turret system, it was really what I worked on this year. I probably spent somewhere around 500, 600 hours working on it. And over 6 weeks, that adds up pretty quickly.
Working around like a year, if you want.
You don't need it today. You need it.
Oh, you don't go.
You don't.
All right, it's a different option.
All right, everybody want to talk about the man?
Yeah, so this other, yeah, you can turn it a little bit so you can see it. So those large gears that we were talking about were probably the most points that you could get in the game. So that was what I worked on designing. This mechanism right here flaps out so that we can pick up gears from a slot that the player throws down. It closes up and then it falls right in here. Here's a peg that you can see of what it would kind of be like. On the actual field, it's a spring, but we just have a straight rod. And the robot drives up, and this camera right here, anywhere that you see these green lights, that's a camera. It reflects the color back, and the camera can see where it is on the field. And it tells how the robot needs to align itself so that it can drive itself directly onto the peg. So, Larry, do you want to bring that?
So we use both this camera on here and then the camera here. We can use those for, there's this tape right here that's, when you shine a light directly onto that tape, the light shines directly back at you instead of going off at an angle like it normally would on the material. So when that light shines directly back at you, you can see that, oh, the target's right here, and then the computer can use code to turn toward it or drive forward how far away it is from you. We can also do something like that with this the target here, which has these tape pieces here, and we can see, looking at that tape, we can see how far away we are from target and what angle we are, so we can look directly at it and shoot directly into it.
Yeah, so another thing is that tape, we know where it is. We can really relation to how tall each piece is and stuff. And so it's a lot of complicated trigonometry and math that we have to do to figure out how, once we look at that, we can figure out what angle we need to rotate this turret at, and what angle we need to rotate this hood at, and spin the wheels so that our balls go right in there. And so that's another skill that you learn. You learn things like how to design stuff on computers and everything. There's also a lot of that. There's also a lot of technologies. There's a lot of hands-on work that you have to do for these systems.
So I have a question then. If it's all done by a program, what's the driver?
So the way our workflow works in a match, we have two people that drive the robot. Me, the driver, and Josh, he's not here, our operator, would stand right here, and these are all his buttons. So the driver, we can do things automatically. The driver needs to get the robot into places where those automated functions can be carried out. So to get a gear to store it, we have to go all the way across the field.
Which
So
is, it's about 50 feet.
yeah, 54-foot field. It's 27 by 54-foot field. You have to drive all the way across 54 feet with very poor vision to get that gear, which isn't something you can really do automatically. It's something that teams have tried. It's definitely something that's being worked on, but it's not really something that's been done. The driver is the one that's moving it around when a robot comes and plays defense on you, because every match is a 3v3. There's 3 robots versus 3 robots. There's a lot of strategy. Who's going to be doing what? Who's going to be shooting? Who's going to be placing gears? Who's going to climb where? If you have a terrible robot or a robot that you want to play defense and try to minimize the opponent's score. Because it doesn't really matter if you get a higher score, or if you get a high score, it's a higher score, you lose. So there's a lot of strategy that needs to be done while you're there. So the driver has to deal with all those variables that can't get handled in code. However, everything that we can have in code, we do. So for instance, the intake, there's 2 separate pistons that cause that to deploy and come in. That's all cool code. We don't have the operator presses 1 button and it comes out. It doesn't press 2 buttons to make sure he times it right, to make sure, maybe you messed up. We try to minimize all that. When it comes to the turret will align by itself. That camera shines the light on that, the retroflective tape, and it aligns to it, and it shoots. Shooting, you press a button, aligning, you press a button. That gear peg over there, you can see there's those 2 rectangles of dates, and that camera on the back of the robot, I press a button, and I press that button because it's a drive tank, and so I press that button, it'll line up to it, and then go. Last year was a very similar situation.
We should be able to do that, yeah.
We could, yes.
Sometimes the computers that we use to process the code.
Yeah, our math are 2.5 long. So all our robot needs to do is lots of math minutes. Like I said, we're very accurate with numbers. But so we try our best to make things as autonomous as possible. But you definitely need a human behind it. So it's a very competitive environment, and everything we're doing here is to get our the greatest competitive lead that we can. But at the same time, this program does a lot more than just we build a robot and complete it. There's a lot of stuff that you learn. Not only do you learn, but you develop a lot of friends. These 5 people in Common Core, I've spent probably more time around than I had like any of my friends from elementary school or middle school that I've had since elementary school. Literally. So you kind of get the second family aspect. Colleges love this stuff. I know that if you apply to WPI and you get in, they see that you're on the team, they're just going to give you money. So, yeah. The person who created this program is a graduate from WPI, and WPI has been part of this program for a long time. This is a well-known program. Colleges love this stuff, which is another advantage of this. So there's a lot you can gain, but first teams don't just build robots. First teams do more than that. First teams are huge influences in the community. So we're doing things like this. We're trying to get the younger people interested in STEM stuff because everybody, especially in the show and stuff. Everybody wants to be that sports superstar and everything, and we're going to tell you that you can do that, but you can also do things like this.
Yeah.
What language is coded?
Java. Yeah. But we can also do, there's also work in Python.
Yeah, the vision code is in C++.
Yeah. So there's a lot of this. Nope. So the material we mostly use is aluminum. So all these, places like any triangles and stuff like that, that's all aluminum. This is called polycarbonate. This is less
It's like a fiberglass, but
yeah, they call it bulletproof glass because it doesn't shatter when you shoot it. Yeah.
Well, there's no restriction on the actual materials. There's a weight restriction. So if we made this out of steel, you'd go overweight and screen it for you.
Yeah, our weight limit's 120 pounds. We're 117, but we're usually 190.
The funding restriction?
Yes, in two senses. So there's what we call Dean's money, because Dean King University created this. You're not allowed to spend more than $4,000 on your robot. However, any services that sponsors have given you don't count towards that. So all this cutting and everything, we don't have the machinery to do that in school, but we do have a machine shop in Munster who is willing to do things for us and doesn't charge us for the service. So we give them material, they cut it for free. So we don't have to include that in that $4,000. If we did include all this robot would probably cost close to
We also have to pay to go to the different competitions. We get hotel rooms. So all in all, a season can wind up being about like $30,000 with a team that show up.
Yes, and we have to raise the most amount of money ourselves. We don't get loans. So. Which way? Well, I mean, if the vision code is off,
Yes.
Sometimes it'll just start violently shaking back and forth. It doesn't know what to do.
Although if you're spinning circles,
you can't handle that. That's a bad idea.
if you spin it in circles fast enough, the intake will pop out and this will just start swinging out and flailing. So we can do stuff. But we tend to keep it mostly.
That's sick.
I mean, if a booty, gets confused of where the robot is during a match.
She just goes full forward and hits something. So on the field, there are two big platforms, and as a human player, I stand on one of them, and the other team is on the other one. And they're right in the middle of the field, so he can't see anything in the center of the field. So when he has to cross the field, he just goes full forward.
He just has to go.
And as you can see, there's a lot of wear and tear on this. This robot's gone through 60 matches, which is low for us. Last year, we went through around 120. So, depends on our success in the season. But these robots, not only do you have to, build them to do their job, you have to build them to do their job a lot of times. It has to last. So the field is, it's kind of hard to describe.
Okay, so the field, it's basically a really long rectangle with green carpet for the entire thing. And that's the base they use for the game every year. Now this year, there wasn't really too much in the center of the field besides these two large platforms on either end. And then there were, in each corner, there were stations where either you could pick up gears or where you could shoot balls in. They had a much nicer setup than this, but this is the testing setup. And then stationed around the sides of the fields are these really big, like saying boxes of balls. Basically, each one has 100. There are two boxes, and you slam into a bar and it releases them. I think there's 500 balls that can be released onto the field at a time. It looks a bit different when you're standing in the center of the field, but the field itself is mostly empty besides the platforms, which is different than last year, where the field had two walls set up of obstacles that were interchangeable in each match, which is part of the game.
Yeah, so, just kind of emphasizing the point. Like, this robot would do in last year's game. It wouldn't be able to, drive. It wouldn't fit under anything. It would be stuck in the center of the field, because last year's robot had these giant 8-inch wheels, and they were like bike tires. They were filled with air and everything, and that thing's a tank. You can just drive across anything with that. So it's kind of like completely different things that you're being asked to do every single year, and that happens in a variety of roles. So every season takes a year. It's 6 weeks for the build season, which is the amount of time that you get this. At the end of those 6 weeks, you have to put the robot in the bag, sign off on it.
We started at the beginning of January, January 5th. I think, was
Yeah,
this year.
it's the first week of January. Then our first competition was week 2 of competition season, so 2 weeks after the season ended. Our first competition. Yeah.
In March.
We went to WPI, that was our competition. We then had a week 4 competition, which was at Bryant University in Rhode Island. And then we had a week 5 competition, which was in Lewiston. So,
If you win one of your first 2 competitions, you qualify for the next stage, basically, and it just goes up and up.
yeah. So after that, there's district championships. And district championships this year was at Canton. And then after that, it's world championships. And a change of events, there's 2. So there's a world championship, this year is in St. Louis, and there's one in Houston. This year's going to be Detroit. And then the season ends April vacation. The end of April vacation, that's when the season ends. Which is convenient because that's when you have all your APs, all your AP tests that you didn't study for your 2 business robots. So build season may end at the end of February vacation, but you're never going to stop working on it because you need to keep in order to stay competitive. So we're in the postseason, like our season ended. So we've been just working on this, trying to raise money with it, sponsors, demo. We're going to your demo and get you guys interested in this stuff. And we'll be at the Collins Foundation, probably this weekend, if any of you come there. We'll be demoing alongside. Yes.
We'll have our last season's robot if you want to drive
Yeah.
it. Show up.
And we let people drive it all the time. We let babies drive it. It's like,
We'll take the speed limiter off.
yeah. So we do things like that, and that's all in the name of just getting our name around and stuff.
We also go to some off-season competitions. We went to one in Merrimack, New Hampshire.
That was just this weekend, and
July 15th.
there's one in Portland. And possibly one in November. We'll see. That's kind of how it works. The season doesn't really stop until the next build season starts. Our team has been going since 2006. So this is what our 12th year. I think so. Yeah. So that's kind of how long we've been running. There are, teams that have been going since 1990. In fact, the one in Clinton is one of the original teams.
So if they wanted to join the team, what would they do?
They would come to Mr. Fortiani's room and say, I would like to join the robotics team, and then fill out
Also, the first week of school at Trova, there's an activity fair. We always we're gonna have a robot there. We're gonna demonstrate it, and there's gonna be a sign-up sheet. So anyone who's interested can put their name down on that sign-up sheet.
There's
we'll
also
contact
our first meeting for robotics, which basically anybody who's interested, you just come, it's in Mr. Fortiani's room, he'll give everybody the rundown and say what everyone would need to do. He'll pass around a sheet, sign up, or email down what kind of position you want to do, and that's how you really start.
Yeah.
But a large part of it is no one's going to really give you anything. You have to come in, you have to do it.
Yeah, so we had 30 people registered on the team, but I would say most of the work done to this robot has been done by around 50 students. And those are the students who say, I'm going to come and I'm going to do something. It's usually way lower than the amount of people who sign up. Because there's usually a lot of people who are like, I have a huge time commitment from sports and everything. And to that, we say we have people who do sports. We have people who do a lot of sports actually, especially last year. One of our seniors was, 2 of our seniors actually did track. And they worked really hard on this. They still got a lot done, despite, not putting in the 500 hours and 6 weeks that we did. So.
Also, the students who are, even those students who aren't putting in those full, 500 hours, they still have a lot of fun. They go to the competitions, they scout, they watch lots of robots. It's a lot of fun.
It's essentially like a day off. So, you go there, you meet new people, you definitely make friends, like there's no doubt about it. You watch robots do stuff, and you have fun and make new teams. So, yeah.
And so what kind of makes this competition different from what a traditional sport is? Like, is that you're forced to cooperate?
Yeah.
Like, so in a traditional sport, it's, one-on-one. It's one team versus another. They practice together. They know each other. With this, it's 3 robots versus another 3. You have no idea who those 3 are. You have no idea what they can do, whether or not they can even drive on the field.
Yeah, there are robots who, there are robots that can't drive, like things like that happen. Nothing goes perfectly to plan. Nothing on this robot goes to plan. That is, you know, again, like we could not shoot that fast at all. On the end of our abilities, we couldn't shoot at all. In fact, we had to turn our robot on at all. So, yeah, so like that's not a good thing. You kind of want to, you know, you kind of want to get code on your robot. You kind of want to get testing done for competitions.
Does it have a name?
This one is
It has two names.
You shut up. Okay. This one's Hellcat.
Our official name is Hellcat. We have a plate
Yeah.
on the robot that looks a lot like a cat, so we decided to name it Hellcat.
And last year's name was Whiplash. You go. Sorry.
You had your hand over there.
If you join, do you have to have like a prerequisite to like program or something like that?
No, you don't have to have any experience at all.
I
I went
think-
into this with absolutely no experience whatsoever. I had no idea what I
I
was
came into this team, you know, never using a drill, never doing anything, not knowing what a milling machine was, what a lathe was, you know, anything about CNC equipment or anything like that. And by the end of my freshman year, I had learned so much. And so like it kind of just like solidified like, oh, I kind of want to do this for a living. So this is kind of, you know, a team to steer you towards other things, but there's more to that. You know, if you want to design websites, be a website. If you want to go into marketing, we have to market our team. Need sponsors, you know. So like there's something for everything.
Why 1768?
So 1768, there's no specific meaning to that. It actually just it's pretty much just where you sign up. So it doesn't necessarily mean we're the 1,768 team to sign up, but we, you know, then when we signed up, the number 1768 was the next one.
I'll call that.
How much training do you have?
Student. So the teachers know a lot because they've been through, you know, the 10 seasons.
There's only one actual teacher who is mentoring the team, and that's Mr. Fortiani.
Yeah.
He's the head mentor. He's in charge of the team. But well, he can exert control, but he doesn't. He lets us run the team a lot by ourselves. If we run into an issue where like we have 8 different ideas and everyone's trying to go a different direction, he'll come in and help guide it. But he's not running the team by himself. He's letting us run it.
Yeah, so we actually have like 8 mentors. They're people that just, they have jobs, they have families and everything. They take their time to come work with us. And they're all experienced people. They're all, you know, engineers or programmers or whatever. They give us a lot of advice, help us learn. And then in the end, it's usually us that make the decision. So,
How fast can you go?
20 miles an hour. Yeah. It takes a little bit to get there. But when you have a 54-foot field, you can get there.
When you hit another robot going at that speed.
And this is happening. No, the robot was like that. Alright, any more questions? Any more questions? Sure, sure.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. So I didn't go here. I went to Gale Middle School. What do you guys have for robotics here? Do you guys have anything?
Team that I met,
This is my first one. There's a lot of different.
this team is a step up.
Guys,
See you next week. Okay, so who here has been to a Lego League, first Lego League meeting here somewhere? Yeah, so first Lego League is the same, you know, organizations. So first Lego League versus first robotics competition. So, yeah. Next year, you guys will go to Okay. Next year, if you guys do go to the show up, you'll have the opportunity to come and join this team. Or there are plenty of other schools. I know, like, there are definitely a lot of other schools that also have these teams.